Mom, it's my first language. Spanish is my second language.
Keeping a 3,000-year-old language alive.
It is spoken in Guatemala, parts of Mexico, and now in Oakland.
The discrimination that comes with speaking an indigenous language, especially in our own countries.
How the Mayan community is working to preserve a crucial part of its heritage and how the effort is faced with a number of modern challenges.
The arts, the culture, the dance, the music, it's what feeds people's souls.
A historic spot in San Jose celebrating 25 years.
I will always see the plaza as one of the greatest legacies that I could have been a part of, that I'm still a part of.
How San Jose's Mexican Heritage Plaza is a welcoming place for people of all backgrounds and how its effect goes way beyond the plaza itself.
The San Francisco Giants celebrate one of its greatest to put on a uniform.
Orlando was a great favorite of mine. I even tried to get that same hitch in my swing that he had, that kind of golf swing.
The trailblazing impact left on and off the field by the late Orlando Cepeda. Saludos! Soy Cristina Rendon, and I am proudly representing my family's Mexican-American roots.
Y yo soy James Torres, the son of Nicaraguense immigrants. You are watching a celebration of the Bay Area's diverse culture, history, and contributions of Latinos.
The following stories brought to you by your KTVU Familia will give you an insight on the present generations of Hispanics that now call California home. We begin with a growing community who does not speak Spanish. They speak their own indigenous language from Guatemala.
KTVU's Jana Katsuyama shows us the pride of the Maya people and the prejudice they've been fighting to overcome.
In Radio Balam's small studio in Oakland, language is a lifeline. Words matter, especially when most of the world can't understand.
We were feeling so isolated, so I decided to create Radio Balam.
For some, hearing the radio broadcast can feel like a miracle, like being home.
Mom, it's my first language. Spanish is my second language.
Crescencio Ramirez, founder of Radio Balam, broadcasts from community events in Mom. Just listen.
Fue un placer lo que me presentar también música y también comida, pues fue un placer de trabajar con ellos.
Mom is a Maya language more than 3,000 years old, still living on the tongues.
I know it's hard. You have to use your language. You gotta push your tongue all the way up.
Of Maya people today.
We use that so much, like Tintai, ¿cómo estás? How are you?
Mom is spoken in Guatemala, parts of Mexico, and now in Oakland and the San Francisco Bay Area.
I was born in Guatemala. I came here when I was 4. It was very difficult at the beginning because there was not too much of my community here when I came in the 1999.
Catarina Mendoza Ramirez says now in Oakland's largely Hispanic Fruitvale neighborhood, there are Guatemalan shops and food trucks owned by Mom-speaking people. The Oakland Unified School District says they have about 1,800 Mom-speaking students and have added a Mom translator to their staff. Mendoza's group, Voces Maya, and other advocates try to help many Mom immigrants who can't speak English or Spanish.
The older folks need access to resources to learn English.
Lost, lonely, and a lot of discrimination.
Carlos Jimenez has felt discrimination firsthand as a minority within the Latino community here. He and his sister were among the first immigrants from Todos Santos in Guatemala.
When you move to another place and they find out you're not belong to that group, they will make fun at you. That's what happened to us.
This month, San Francisco City College held a Maya cultural festival at the Mission campus, and people came wearing traditional hats and clothes with pride, sharing their food, culture, and beautiful woven textiles. This celebration of heritage is also a celebration of survival.
And In Guatemala, there's a lot of violence.
Mom speakers have survived from Spanish conquerors to Guatemala's violent civil war in the 80s when soldiers targeted indigenous people.
I came here without my mom, without my father. I spoke just mom, a little bit of Spanish.
Damaso Kamal was a teenager when he came to the Bay Area. He remembers one class when a teacher suggested that Maya people no longer exist.
I went to school here and they were saying that we don't know what happens to the Mayans. They disappeared about 1,800 years, something like that, right? And I just laughed, you know.
Nationwide, there has been a new focus on Maya mom speakers, as many Guatemala immigrants have been caught in the political battle over the border.
The discrimination that comes with speaking an indigenous language, especially in our own countries where, you know, a lot of us are not respected, are not treated as equals to those who spoke Spanish, which is the national language.
Oswaldo Martin made national news. He grew up in Oakland, became trilingual, and worked as an interpreter in immigration courts. He says many Maya immigrants were given Spanish interpreters, even though they spoke little or no Spanish. It's a challenge for him and other interpreters. Mom has some 15 dialects, and the remote and mountainous communities have meant there is no standard Mom language. Another challenge is that Mom is just one of 22 Maya languages recognized in Guatemala.
I speak Quiche, I'm from Guatemala, and I am an interpreter.
At the San Francisco Maya Festival, Francisco Icala says his Maya language, Quiche, is spoken by about 20,000 people in the Bay Area. And there is also Yucatec.
Communication ways in the Yucatan language is Bishabel, which means how are you? And then you pronounce Malob, which means I am good.
When I was a kid, it just kind of thought, oh, we're all Hispanic, so we all kind of understand each other, it's fine. But as I grew older, I started moving out to different parts of the Bay Area, and I learned that, no, it's not a monolith.
It is a mosaic.
And I'm just a part of the community, Latina, and also Maya mom, and be very proud of that.
Proud as a new parent, Calmo and others are dreaming.
It's my dream to have a beautiful family so we can live in peace.
Dreaming of peace and the hope of passing the legacy of language, the mom language, to his son, Mateo.
Hopefully he doesn't have to go through the same thing as I am going through.
Because somebody paid the price for them to be here. So they should be proud of and remember who opened that door for them. We're so proud of who we are, where we come from, and we didn't want that one to get lost.
Jana Katsuyama, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
The pride and joy of staying connected to one's ancestors leads us to the Mexican Heritage Plaza South Bay staple, where people can celebrate their culture and traditions.
And we're not just talking about Mexican heritage, but Portuguese, Vietnamese, and many others.
KTVU's Ann Rubin takes a look at the plaza's role in the community and the future expansion they hope will carry them through the next 25 years.
The Mexican Heritage Plaza. For 25 years, it's been both the anchor and the heart of East San Jose. Carolina Herrera Loera calls it a home away from home.
I remember being here at the opening, so proud to have a place for our community to call our own.
Since then, there have been countless dances and plays, camps and quinceaneras. Herrera Loera even met her husband at a sunrise ceremony on the plaza.
And we eventually got married here, in this same place that we met.
It all started with an idea. Blanca Alvarado, then on the San Jose City Council, pushed to make the plaza happen. She spoke about it to the School of Arts and Culture earlier this month.
The dream of having something that identified us as an ethnic community was really, really important.
She intended it to be a place where people could celebrate their culture and their traditions.
I'm really proud of what has happened. I will always see the plaza as one of the greatest legacies that I could have been a part of, that I'm still a part of.
The plaza's purpose continues to expand. It was a vaccine and COVID testing site during the pandemic. It will be a polling place come November, and it regularly holds a food distribution event called Mercadito.
We have events like today's Mercadito, where we literally feed people. We literally feed their bodies. But the arts, the culture, the dance, the music, it's what feeds people's souls.
And there is always an event on the agenda.
We're lucky enough that for this 6-acre facility, if you drop in anytime Monday through Sunday, any day of the week, you will have something to do.
As they celebrate their anniversary this year, the executive directors are looking toward expansion. Just across the street will be a new health center, black box theater, and cafe. Phase 2 will include affordable housing nearby.
In the next 25 years, we're really going outside the walls of the plaza itself into community development.
Those that love it call this sacred ground, a community hub that just keeps getting better.
I can't really now imagine a life without La Plaza.
And the 25th anniversary celebration will continue. Still to come, a Day of the Dead festival in November, a holiday extravaganza in December, and a big mariachi festival early next year. In San Jose, Ann Rubin, KTVU Fox 2 News.
Shaping the next generation of Latino Americans can be a challenge, but the Bay Area is home to big names who have become the first in their communities to blaze a trail for those to come.
On and off the field, Latino athletes continue to represent their heritage with pride. KTVU's Amanda Quintana brings us Fiesta Gigante.
It's an annual celebration of Hispanic culture at Oracle Park, where this year, the life and legacy of the great Orlando Cepeda was honored.
It's only fitting that Latin music fills the air outside Oracle Park. On the day, fans honor Giants great Orlando Cepeda. The Hall of Famer died in June at the age of 86. Known as the Baby Bull, he was one of Major League Baseball's first Puerto Rican stars, debuting in 1958 when the Giants came to San Francisco. He was one of the leading sluggers of his time, hitting 379 home runs and the unanimous choice for MVP in 1967.
Orlando was a great favorite of mine. I even tried to get that same hitch in my swing that he had, that kind of golf swing.
Fans remembered how amazing it was to watch him play.
Orlando was a winner, and he didn't push that fact. You could recognize it, though. He was a quiet leader, but I think he had a profound effect on every team he was ever with, and the Giants were so lucky.
Giants legends like Barry Bonds, Juan Marichal, and Dusty Baker were on the field to say their final goodbyes. Cepeda's family and friends wearing his classic accessory, a Panama hat, with one even painted on the field. Cepeda died just 10 days after Willie Mays, but Willie had learned of his failing health and left a statement about who he called his little brother, who he met when he was a 17-year-old bat boy in Puerto Rico. Those in the stands lucky enough to have known him personally remember him as so much more than a fantastic player and humanitarian. Mauricio Arce was Cepeda's family photographer, saying his friendship was priceless.
A wonderful human being, and I cannot express my feelings towards him. He always took care of us, treat me like a family member. That was one of the great virtues of Orlando.
Daniel Rodriguez, friends with his son.
Very giving, very lovable, always gave great advice. I think that was the big, he always gave really good advice to people, so yeah, we miss him. So
fans celebrating the barriers he broke for Latin players and the legacy he helped create for the Giants. In San Francisco, Amanda Quintana, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
And now we'll take you to the ring to show you how a group of women and men in the South Bay are preserving Hispanic culture and family traditions, one wrestling move at a time.
KTVU's Joey Horta introduces us to amateur luchadores, training to turn their passion into a career.
Each time they lace up and mask up with their shimmering predator-like costumes inspired by Mayan and Aztec soldiers, they're preserving Hispanic culture, one wrestling move at a time. This is Pro Wrestling Revolution in San Jose, a small gym full of energy where lucha libre, or Mexican wrestling, comes to life.
It's a spectacle. I've been watching it since I was a kid.
It's much more than a hobby for the luchador, Spanish for wrestler. Meet El Cucuy, all suited up like a comic book character. The fighter won't reveal his true identity behind the mask, part of the mystique.
It's a way to escape reality. Normally, what I do under the mask, I feel uncomfortable or embarrassed to do in person.
A few nights a week, you'll find him working up a sweat in the ring. And if you think this is just for men, you'd be wrong. A luchadora, or female wrestler like Charisma, who's a teacher by day, has proven she's a worthy opponent, taking on men and women alike.
Why the heck not? I want to show little girls and up-and-coming women that we can be strong and powerful yet feminine female athletes, and we can do all the same things at the men's level.
Let's get it right. Let's go. Come on.
Promoter Gabriel Ramirez, who runs the gym and coaches lucha, has made a career out of it.
It's a culture phenomenon. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's part of our history. It's part of our culture.
Ramirez organizes competitions all over the Bay Area, including the Mexican Heritage Plaza in San Jose and around the world.
The biggest misconception that people think is that you have to be Latino to be a luchador, and that's the furthest from the truth.
Charisma is not Hispanic, but has learned to love the culture through lucha libre, just like the spectators who grew up aspiring to one day compete in the ring.
We had a trampoline in the backyard, so we would go outside and, we really played out matches and everything, so I've always loved it.
But while the injuries are very real, critics will point out wrestling is fake.
So that's like the big F word, right? Fake. And I think people use the word fake because they have trouble understanding what we do. Why has no one ever stood up in the movie theater and yelled, "Hey, that's fake"? Because you're allowing yourself to go watch this movie and you give yourself and you're entertained. You go home happy.
It's magical. It's all about tradition.
And you can catch all the excitement of Lucha Libre bringing Hispanic culture to the Bay Area and beyond all year long. Their next event coming up in late October at Mount Pleasant High School. In San Jose, Joey Horta, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Cuidado, Joey, with that luchador. It is not just through sports, dance, or language that Latinos preserve their unique cultural identities. Food also plays a big role in keeping their history alive.
KTVU's Ann Rubin introduces us to a family-run business in San Jose that brings not only a taste of Mexico, but also some nostalgia with their freshly made tortillas.
At Tortilleria La Familiar in San Jose, they're serving up a taste of home. Each warm, fresh tortilla comes with a side of nostalgia.
I think it's more the smell. A lot of people always comment more on the smell, I'm standing in line and I could smell it, and it just throws me back to when I was little living in Mexico.
But unlike Mexico, tortillas like these are hard to come by in the Bay Area. No one is making them like this, from masa to machine to your hand in a matter of minutes.
There's some in the valley. Right now in the Bay Area, we are the only ones, I believe.
That's why the Alvarez family launched their business, to fill the void. But it wasn't easy. It required special equipment built in Mexico, but to U.S. specifications. Then they had to perfect their process, and perfect it they did.
I was raised eating homemade tortillas, and these ones are the closest one I have found.
I'm just coming very often, and I just live close by, but I like it because I like fresh. So I come in probably 2-3 times a week.
Tortilleria La Familiar opened their truck last year and already has a devoted following.
I come almost every day, Monday through Friday, almost every day. If not, I try to buy at least 4 pounds to last me 2 days, 3 days, but we have a big family, so yeah, 4 pounds usually lasts us about a day and a half.
They're in a new fixed spot along Story Road now, and while you'll see a steady stream of customers on weekdays, on weekends you'll find a line. Still, people say it's worth it.
It's convenient. It's convenient to not have to make tortillas at home when you can just come and buy them. And warm, right now with just some cheese and some salsa, sounds so good.
So good, in fact, that some people just can't wait.
And a lot of folks just come, they get their tortillas and they eat it on the spot.
Now to our next story about keeping family traditions alive. It requires effort. When family members make the treacherous journey in hopes of a better life in the United States, staying connected is not only difficult, but it can also be painful.
It's a challenge my parents deal with every day and have dealt with since they've moved to this country. KTVU's Crystal Bailey takes us on a heartwarming moment where immigrant families were able to see and hug each other again after decades of being apart.
It's an indescribable eagerness at San Jose Mineta Airport, where passengers on Volaris Flight 7800 deplane. Those passengers coming from Morelia, Mexico, with big hearts and lots of catching up to do.
30 años que no ve a su hermano,
They're here to reunite with their families who migrated to the U.S. many years ago.
Entonces hoy es un día de fiesta para nosotros.
Juan Pablo Zetina says today is a celebration. He's the president and founder of the International Convention on Human Rights and Migration, a nonprofit organization working with government officials to reunite immigrant families. The program, called Palomas Mensajeras, translates into carrier pigeons.
El avión fueron 3 horas.
Zetina says the flight was 3 hours long, but for them, it felt like 15 minutes because it's been a lifetime. And while a couple of families couldn't wait and met their loved ones at the airport, the reunion celebration was held 20 miles away in Redwood City at the Fox Theater, where the travelers are brought backstage and their family members in the audience anticipating their return come bearing flowers and balloons ready for that first embrace.
Precioso, mi amor, Aaroncito.
Maria Teresa de Jesus meeting grandchildren for the first time and hugging her adult kids for the first time in decades.
Más de 20 años.
She says it's been more than 20 years since she's seen her son. And Emma Villalobos says seeing her mother again for the first time in 14 years is unexplainable.
Pues es una emoción muy grande, muchos sentimientos encontrados.
And right after that tearful exchange, they can't let each other go. Maria Guadalupe Garcia Orozco says she went 30 years without seeing her son Ricardo. He was a teenager when he left his hometown in Mexico. Now he's introducing his mother to her 19-year-old grandchild.
Se me hacía el corazón.
Her son says when he saw his mother again, his heart swelled.
Feliz. Feliz.
Unfortunately, borders are supposed to unite countries, but in this case, it's a big separation.
Arnaldo Areola with the Latino Community Council of Redwood City secured the Fox Theater for the reunion.
This is my 4th time, and it doesn't matter. It's emotional.
The process that leads up to this moment can take about 2 years.
Cuida las leyes.
Zetina says the goal is to bring them in legally by helping them get visas. He says when people respect the law, they are able to freely travel to the U.S. with a visa that lasts 10 years. And Palomas Mensajeras can continue to operate. The families will have 1 month together before they would be required to report back to the airport and return to Mexico.
Arriba Aguililla!
The nonprofit is hoping to expand to other parts of Central America, and they're already in talks with politicians in El Salvador. In Redwood City, Crystal Bailey, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
From introducing new forms of music and dance, pioneering in the sports world, to transforming the food and business industry, members of the Latino community have been drivers of change and innovation.
And to shape experiences that resonate with others, many entrepreneurs draw from indigenous ancestry. KTVU's Sal Castaneda takes on a mezcal tasting in Oakland with a woman known as the Mezcal Master.
You may know mezcal is having its moment. Mezcal, the Mexican spirit and relative of tequila, is enjoying rising popularity, used in cocktails and also sipped neat. This is quite the journey from a drink that some considered the poor man's version of tequila. Now some bottles of high-end mezcal can go for hundreds of dollars. In Oakland, Odin Restaurant calls itself a mezcaleria, where it complements delicious food with mezcal.
We at Odin have a selective collection that we choose to highlight.
Odin is also trying to bring more people into the fold by holding a mezcal tasting series. This month, Odin hosted renowned mezcal producer Berta Vasquez, a star in the industry.
Having Berta Vasquez here is huge. So I think most of these folks that are here today are familiar.
Berta Vasquez seemed to me to be an abuelita, a grandmother figure, and although she is indeed a grandmother, she is also one of the most highly regarded mezcal producers in the world.
In Mexico, usually, are men's, the ones, doing distillation. But the woman tonight, Berta Vasquez, is one of the pioneers in distillation, opening, like the path for women, in the industry, in mezcal.
The 64-year-old has not lost her humble demeanor. She looks thrilled to see people coming to hear her speak.
Mi papá trabajaba de mezcal.
My father worked in mezcal, my uncles, my grandparents, they all worked in this field because that's all the work there was. I was 10 years old and I liked to go to the fields because it was hard to buy candy, so I liked to chew on the sweet Moe agave plant when it came out of the ovens.
People seemed enthralled as Vasquez humbly told a story of her family's rag to relative riches, all due to producing mezcal. Her limited release products can go as high as $200 a bottle. At this event, people got to taste her work and also were quite liberal in ordering mezcal cocktails. Hugo Gonzalez, who is the mezcal educator for Odin, says he is proud of this event and for the rising popularity of mezcal.
Mezcal was something, it means a lot, like for us, as Mexicans.
And of course, I was lucky enough to try some of Berta Vasquez mezcal.
Ooh, I like that. That's good. In Oakland, Sal Castaneda, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, let's take this Mexican history lesson beyond the glass. And to do that, we take you down to Levi's Stadium.
KTVU South Bay reporter LaMonica Peters brings us the story of family-owned Mexican-American restaurant Puesto, a restaurant that has prided itself on offering authentic cuisine with a modernized twist.
It's the first game of the season for the San Francisco 49ers, and excited fans are filing into Levi's Stadium. Puesto, which means food stand, has offered hungry fans a taste of authentic Mexican food tailored to fit a game day atmosphere for the last 5 years.
I love the melted cheese, the crispiness, the tortillas that are made right there in front of you. It's incredible. I've been trying to duplicate this at home, but can't do it.
Eric Adler says he and his family started Puesto in 2012 as a first-generation family-owned Mexican food restaurant in San Diego. Now they have 8 locations throughout the state.
Our family's Mexican, born in Guadalajara and Mexico City, Monterrey, so kind of all over Mexico, but we were born in San Diego actually, and we grew up with the best Mexican food in our house, and we always wanted to deliver that to a restaurant, and that's what we did at Puesto.
As big 49ers fans, Adler says it's a dream come true to serve their food at Levi's Stadium all year long for concerts and other major sporting events. Puesto is also known for researching and importing some of its ingredients directly from Mexico.
It's tacos, but it's not like what you think. It's organic blue corn masa, it's hand pressed, it's never taken to a flour. It's real organic corn boiled with the lime, the salt, and ground up fresh.
One of Puesto's most popular menu items is the short rib quesabirria taco. You can find tacos as well as burritos and other specialty items like premium beers and margaritas at concession stands near sections 129 and 116.
I thought it was a hidden gem, right there in La Jolla or something, but to see it here, I was so jacked.
And it's just amazing just because I've been a diehard fan since probably 1990, so yeah, I love it. It's great to feed the faithful, really.
If you don't make it inside Levi's Stadium, you're still in luck. Puesto restaurant is also located less than 2 miles away from the stadium in Santa Clara.
We take you now to the East Bay. That's where an entrepreneur is blazing a trail for future Latino business owners.
And Carmen is one of the few, if not the first Latina, to open a retail store in Lafayette. Here's her story. In downtown Lafayette, one of the newest shops is Vintage Vida, or Vintage Life.
We created this t-shirt to help promote the store.
Owner Carmen Guerrero curates pieces that take you on a journey through time, style, and nostalgia.
I just found this prom dress from the 50s. So pretty. Wow.
From a wall full of art to home decor and books, even 49ers memorabilia, and a set of old golf clubs.
The lady's daughter brought this in, said that her mom wasn't a very good golfer.
This shop garners window shoppers and regulars.
I love this store. And you know what I love about it? It's always changing. Always new things.
There's also pieces from around the world, especially ones with Latin influence.
Latino things were being sort of left behind in these homes and not being appreciated as much as I knew that they could be.
Carmen's favorite? This wooden Aztec calendar.
This was preserved so well because there was a piece of glass on it. It used to be a table. It wouldn't be natural to me if I wasn't weaving in things from Latin America or things that I'm connected to or that speak to me.
Carmen was born in El Salvador in the 1970s and was brought to the U.S. at age 7 after a civil war broke out in her home country. She says her family was granted amnesty under the Reagan administration.
So when I was really little, my mom and I thrifted for survival. And because we left El Salvador, I had to leave everything behind. And so for me, there was a connection to, I was always looking for things that were reminiscent or things that were from where I left, that would help connect home to me.
Things like records. Her uncle was a musician in El Salvador for a band called Los Hermanos Flores.
You can see jazz, R&B, blues, country, classic rock, and then of course the Latin section here.
As an adult, she kept collecting while working in the corporate world. During the pandemic, she was furloughed and decided to start selling.
So I started popping up at markets and selling all of the things that I collected over time. And that's when I realized that there was a market for it.
You can really see the mid-century style and eclectic vibe in here. That's because Carmen looks for iconic pieces from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Whether they're international items or from America, all of these items are sourced from Bay Area homes.
I mean, at this point, I've been here longer than I have in El Salvador, so I'm definitely American, and I have that as well. And so was influenced by the 80s and a lot of hip hop culture and all kinds of different things.
Carmen walked away from her corporate job after the pandemic to channel her mother Irma's entrepreneurial spirit. Her mom worked as a housekeeper in La Miranda for 20 years and was right by Carmen's side when Vintage Vida opened in the summer.
Yeah, it's overwhelming because my mom invited all her friends. So it was a very proud moment.
Carmen is the first in her family to own a brick-and-mortar retail store.
Bye, thank you.
And likely one of the only Latina business owners in Lafayette.
My mom and my family still cleans homes here in La Miranda, in these homes. So it just wasn't something that ever entered my mind in terms of owning a business on Main Street in the heart of the downtown.
What has the reception been like?
It's been incredible. The community has been unlike anything I've ever seen before, completely embraced us.
She and her husband Jorge are overwhelmed by the support.
It's beautiful to see when people come in how appreciative that they are of the store, and they always have something really, really kind to say.
I hope it's successful. She deserves it.
Thank you
she
so
bought
much.
Some stuff. Yeah, it's really fun.
Carmen says she chooses every piece with love and attention. Sometimes the items trigger people's memories or help bridge the gap between generations. It's why word of mouth is spreading about this little shop that's preserving history. And to Carmen, that's priceless.
Have a great day. Thank you.
The success of Latino-based businesses, cultural centers, and Hall of Famer recognition is felt here in the Bay Area thanks to our welcoming community supporting and embracing different cultures.
And we thank you for joining us in this celebration of Latin heritage past and present.
Hasta la próxima.